Hi, I'm Juliette McCutcheon from Channel Factory. I am here with McClure from Mindshare. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. So, Cara, welcome to MadFest.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your role at the moment at Mindshare. I know that you're sort of changing roles soon.
Yes, so I've been at Mindshare for 3 years. I think I joined in 2019 as an SEO account director. So I've been in the SEO industry for 10 years, I think. Yeah, this year would have been 10 years.
And then outside of your day-to-day role, I know that you do a huge amount with WPP Roots.
Yes.
Obviously, that's a big theme at MadFest, and I feel like a big theme in the industry at the moment is everybody wants to talk about diversity and inclusion and how they can be more involved in it and implement strategies for it. So can you tell us about WPP Roots and your role there?
Yeah, so interestingly, I knew of WPP Roots, but I didn't really get actively involved until the pandemic. So I think a lot of good things came out of the pandemic because, we were all forced to be at home. And funny enough, I met more people at the company whilst being at home. Because obviously all we had to do was go through Teams and connect with people, or there was loads of, all the company meetings would be online. So I'd be like, oh, hey, what do you do? And then with the George Floyd tragedy that happened, Roots was a lot more, I guess, PR'd around the company and stuff. So but it's a great initiative, WPP Roots. So WPP Roots is kind of the main one, and then all the different agencies have their own Roots committee within it. So I chair the Mindshare Roots committee. So I work closely with WPP Roots, and kind of whatever they do kind of trickles down to us, and then we kind of filter out and make it what it is for our particular agency. Because obviously within each group agency, we all have our own different kind of, ethos and what we want to work towards and that kind of thing. But yeah, chairing Roots has been amazing. We've done some really great events. There's a new umbrella that we're working on. I'm working on with someone called Shay at Mindshare. That's called the Black Employee Network, which is kind of an umbrella or an arm of Roots. And we focus on the employment rights, and we're going to give people different roles and have a mentorship program, an events program, and different things that the people can just get involved in. Cause, it's really fun doing Roots, but it's also technically another job. So we're trying to build a team within what we do, because we all have day jobs, right? And it's something we're all very, very passionate about, and we care about it a lot. But yeah, Mindshare's really great with stuff like that. So there's loads of different ERGs, so Roots is just one of them, and then they have the working parents group, the LGBTQ plus group, the disability group, the declassify, which focuses on class and things like that. So it's a really good initiative, and chairing Roots is fun. And Roots is kind of why I decided to go into partnerships a bit as well, because the work stuff that I did with Roots just kind of gave me a bit of a flavour for more creative stuff, more partnerships, because we worked on the Channel 4 Black to Front programme. And
what was that?
So the Channel 4 basically did a takeover. There was basically the whole day was dedicated to black talent. So whether it was comedy, actors, TV shows.
I saw that.
Yeah. So we kind of worked on that initiative, more so from the advertising perspective. But that was fun. And then I did a project with Oswald Boateng for a platform that he wanted to build for just black creativity. So yeah, I think that's where the idea started to come from for brand partnerships.
Nice.
Yeah.
And with the committee within Mindshare, does it tend to be more of a kind of inward-facing initiative for Mindshare, or is it something that when the brands who work with Mindshare come to Mindshare and say, we want a new strategy for this, are you guys kind of called into, say, a client meeting with KFC or Ford or whoever it might be?
Yeah, so that's kind of what, within Roots, that's kind of one of the things that we've been discussing, and we started speaking about an inclusive planning framework. So if a brief comes in from the client, the inclusive planning framework panel, if you want to call it that, kind of gets consulted, and we kind of decide whether we think this brief is more dedicated to, or more kind of, I guess the target audience is more focused on the women's group, the working parents group, the Roots committee, or whatever. So yeah, that's something that we're definitely working on. And Mindshare, we partner with someone called the DSC, who kind of look overall at exactly what's happening from an inclusive and diversity perspective. And just being able to just allow, because I think it's important that companies that say they're diverse and inclusive actually show the proof in their work.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Mindshare do. We're very much forward thinking in that sense, and it's we champion diversity and inclusion, but we also, that you can see it within the work that we do with the clients.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one thing to have a strategy or say that you are implementing things in your company, but unless you actually reflect that as your own brand, then then really you don't really have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So looking forward then, what do you think, where would you say the industry is at the moment? in terms of representation and making sure that we're not being over-exclusive? Would you say like we're 20% there, at least something's happening, or are we getting close?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say, but things have definitely changed. Like, I think everyone can probably say that depending on whatever industry you're in or whatever brand you work for and anything like that, you can see a change. I think with our industry in particular, I think especially because we're so focused on like consumers and, you know, appealing to different people and all that kind of stuff with the advertising world, I think it's easier for us to notice where we may see an ad and be like, oh, that's not like a normal person you would see on an ad, if it ever is that. Or like you may see an ad and it's got, you know, someone who may be disabled, someone who's black, someone who's from the LGBTQ. Like you're starting to see those changes and it's starting to become hopefully the norm. So I think we're kind of, I don't know about percentage wise, I'd say maybe 20-25% there, but I think at the moment, where the industry is now, there's a lot of conversations happening, and I think some brands are doing things about it. Some brands want to do things about it, but they don't really know how to do it.
Yeah.
And other brands are still just like a bit whatever, which is fine, because I guess obviously, like, if you're going to do it, make it genuine. So I think it's one of those things where I think changes are happening, and I think the right conversations are being had, and I think now it's to translate those conversations into action to the point where people start to, like, I guess it becomes less of a topical conversation because things need to be fixed, and more of a topical conversation because it's like, oh wow, look at all this progress we've made, like look at all this like change we've made, or like, you know, it's just normal now for us to see what we should be seeing anyway.
I was thinking this the other day. I saw a perfume ad where it was loads of models and they were all super skinny and white. And actually, it was jarring now compared to what we see on TV. Like, it stood out as being, that feels off now.
Yeah, but that's good, right? Because at least before, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you'd see that and you wouldn't even turn a blind eye because you're like, okay, that's what we're normally.
That's what people on TV,
right? That's how people look because that's what we see on TV. And I think the world's become a lot more conscious to, I guess, especially for the younger generation, like seeing people on TV and thinking that's the only way they're supposed to look. Yeah. And now seeing ads. So I think I remember the first time, I think it was Dove actually. I think that one of the first times I saw an ad that was inclusive, if you want to call it that. So there was like plus size women, there was black women, there was Indian women, there was white women, there was Chinese, like whatever race, whatever ethnic background, whatever shapes and sizes. Some were slim, some were curvy, some were like, you know, different shapes. And it was like, and I remember seeing it and I was like, wow, like it was a massive billboard somewhere in Oxford Street. And I was just like, this is crazy. And now when I see it, it's becoming more normal.
Yeah.
So we're getting there where it's like, okay, that's nice. That's how things should be. Like, and I know there's other brands and campaigns that will showcase like, you know, people that have disabilities or things like that. And it's like, again, it's normal. Whereas before, you would never see someone, say, in a wheelchair, in a TV ad or in a billboard ad, showcasing certain things, especially if it's in, like, I don't know, the beauty industry or something. Yeah. Like, so things are definitely moving in the right direction. And there's obviously still a lot more work to do, but I think it's good that we're now, like you said, when you see something that I guess is non-inclusive, you're like, hey, this is weird.
It feels off.
Yeah. And I think that's more where we should be.
Yeah. I think that's actually, you use that example of the Dove ad.
Yeah.
That is a great way to reference, I suppose, how far we have come. That was revolutionary 10 years ago, which isn't even that long ago, but it shows how much has happened in 10 years, and that also I think that brands and the whole world are receptive to initiatives like that and to change.
Yeah. Which is where we should be, right? Because I think some brands, like I said, some brands don't know what to do, and that's fine. I think you have to have the right people in the room to make the conversation, because if you're going to have someone that's, you know, never really faced any kind of issues with diversity or inclusion or something like that, and they're the ones at the top making the decision, it's like, okay, but how much can you really understand what is going on, and how impactful can you be with what you're trying to do from a diverse and inclusive perspective if you don't really, like, you've never been on the receiving end? Yeah. And it's not to say, obviously, you need to get people involved for them to relive, you know, bad experiences they've had, but at the same time, make it authentic. Like, make it make sense in that regard.
And have representation in the room.
Right, exactly.
I mean, how many times have you maybe met with someone or seen an ad on TV and you think there was nobody in that boardroom? There was no representation in that boardroom.
Yeah. Like, so many times in me, like, I guess building my career and getting to the stage where I've walked into certain meeting rooms and I'm just like this is like, what? Nobody looks like me. No, and like, it's very obvious. I remember the first time I won't mention their name, but I remember the first time I had a meeting with one of clients I used to manage, and I remember walking into the room, and it was just all old middle-aged white men, and literally they all looked at me. Obviously, I don't look my age, so they all looked at me like, "Who the hell is this child?" And like, "What is she doing here?" And then you could just feel like they were just like, "What's happening?" And then when I started to like speak, and they knew what I was there for, then it's weird how you see people's body language change.
Yeah.
It's like, because they were all a bit like, okay, what does this person know what they're here for? Then they realized I was here to actually help them with their strategy within SEO. You kind of saw them more relaxed and kind of slumped back in their chairs, and they were like being more receptive, and I was just like, wow. And it's like, I've had so many experiences like that across my career of just like walking into certain rooms and, being the odd one out, if you want to call it that. And it's like, it's insane. But in saying that, like, again, things are changing now. I'm starting to go into different meetings of like levels of seniority, and I'm starting to see, and I'm like, oh, hey, you look like me, that's nice.
You are seeing a shift.
Yeah. So the shift is, I think particularly, I think the advertising world, you're seeing it more. Mm-hmm. I think within the recruitment agency and within companies and who they have on their board and like who they have in senior positions, I think that's a bit more obvious of like seeing certain people like at the top, if you want to call it that, and that's not so inclusive or diverse. But I think those conversations are starting to be had, which is good, because I think there's two sides to the coin, right? There's the advertising side, and then there's the employee side, because it's like you need more people to understand if you're gonna do the flip side of the coin, and be able to create those campaigns.
Exactly, and it kind of feeds into what we were saying too about you need to have it needs to be a genuine approach, and it has to be a genuine desire, and that has to come from. The partnership is between the brand and the agency too, so it needs to be on both sides.
Exactly, definitely.
Cool. I think we'll leave it there for now, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah.